Good evening. Today we're going to talk to you about police brutality. Police brutality is the unnecessary and excessive use in most cases of physical force by a police officer. Not all cases of police brutality have had physical force. There's also the existence of verbal intimidation. Today we're going to inform you about a few cases of excessive force by police abusing the authorities on civilians. We'll also talk about the meaning and impact of police brutality in our community.
Police brutality is loosely defined as any instance in which a police officer uses excessive force while interacting with the public. Police brutality takes one or two forms. The most obvious form is physical force. Physical police brutality is defined as using excessive force against an individual, breaking a suspect's arm while handcuffing him in a situation that could form police brutality. However, this is a relative measure, which means that an officer may use greater degree of force against a person who physically resists. Police brutality also includes non-physical form of force, including the use of verbal abuse and the abuse of authority. Here is an example of police brutality.
For 8 miles on this South Carolina highway, a trooper pursues a driver who's been speeding. Later, she'll claim she wasn't sure he was a cop and that she wanted to reach a more populated area before stopping. When she finally does pull over, he's clearly on a short fuse.
Cut the car off now! Turn the car off! Roll the window now! Roll the window down now! Turn the car off! Put them damn keys out the window! Now! Out of the car! On the ground now! Get out of the car! Get on the ground with my seatbelt on! Get out of the car! Put the damn gun! Get out now! Now! On the ground! On the ground! Now! On the ground!
The driver, a nursing student from Florida, suffers scratches and bruises as she's dragged from her car and handcuffed.
On the ground! Now! On the ground!
The dash cam video, broadcast nationwide, stirs widespread claims of police brutality. In the end, she gets a speeding ticket and a 6-figure legal settlement from the South Carolina Department of Public Safety. And the trooper, an 11-year veteran, gets fired.
Police brutality. Police brutality is a form of police misconduct in which officers engage in an excessive use of force. The definition of excessive use of force is a bit fluid, but it is generally taken to mean force well beyond what would be necessary to cope with the situation. For example, a police officer who beat a non-violent protester with a baton would probably be accused of excessive use of force, under the argument that the police officer probably could have dealt with the situation much less violently. Several nations around the world have laws which specifically address police brutality. In fact, as human rights organization has discovered, many complaints about excessive use of force by police officers are not investigated, and if they are, the finding is usually that police officers acted appropriately. Thank you.
People have four main rights when dealing with the police. Safety, the right to remain silent, refuse police searches, and the right to ask if you're free to go. With safety, you have the right to protect yourself against police brutality. You are not allowed to not talk to a police officer. Instead, you must say you have the right to remain silent. The Supreme Court made a ruling that you have the right to not talk to a police officer without an attorney. You also have the right to tell a police officer, "I don't consent to this search," to refuse a search without a warrant. You have the right to ask a police officer, "Am I free to go?" If not, the officer may think you're voluntary staying. You also have the right to refuse to empty your pockets by asking, "No, am I free to go?" because there is no law that you must empty your pockets when asked. Also, saying "I have nothing to say" can refuse an officer's request to take you down to the station to question you. And that is some of the
Thank you for your undivided attention, and we hope you learned a little bit more about police brutality. Thank you, and we hope you liked it.